Waking from a coma with no memory of the last few years, Paige is stunned to learn she has a devoted husband, Leo, whom she doesn't remember at all. Torn between the familiar life she recalls, including an old boyfriend, and the love she unknowingly built, she must decide whether to rediscover her past or embrace an uncertain future. The movie starts with Paige Collins and her husband Leo walking out of a movie theater. As they drive home, they stop at a stop sign. Paige unbuckles her seatbelt and leans over to kiss Leo. At that exact moment, a truck crashes into their Saab 900 from behind, sending Paige through the windshield. Emergency responders rush both of them to the hospital. While Leo's voice narrates, he reflects on how moments of impact help in finding who we are. As he speaks, the story shifts to the past, showing how Paige and Leo first met. Scenes of their courtship, proposal, and wedding blend with the present, weaving their love story together. When Paige wakes up, she mistakes Leo for her doctor, which shows she has lost some of her memory. As she talks to him, she tries to piece together what she still remembers. She realizes that most of her memories are intact, except for the past few years of her life. She still recalls wanting to be an artist in high school, but has no memory of why she left law school. Paige's parents find out about the accident and rush to visit her. This is the first time Leo meets them. When the doctor advises that Paige should return to her normal routine, a disagreement arises. Her parents and Leo have different ideas about what her routine is. Leo explains to Paige that she had stopped speaking to her parents before the accident, mainly because her father had pressured her to attend law school while she chose to pursue art school instead. Paige also struggles to understand why she ended her engagement with Jeremy. Leo urges her to come home with him, but she hesitates, asking for proof of their life together, like a diary. He tells her that, as far as he knows, no such diary existed before the accident. Paige's parents insist that she should go home with them, and she agrees, believing she might have married Leo for some practical reason rather than love. Just as she is about to leave, Leo rushes over and plays a voice message from her past. In the recording, she sounds joyful and deeply in love with him. Hearing this, Paige changes her mind and decides to go home with Leo, hoping that being in a familiar environment will help her regain her lost memories. During the car ride, Leo casually mentions that the American president is Barack Obama. Paige recognizes him as a senator, and Leo tells her that she voted for him. Paige arrives home to a surprise party thrown by her friends, but since she doesn't remember any of them, she feels overwhelmed. The unfamiliar faces and cheerful atmosphere only make her feel more lost. Struggling to connect, she isolates herself from the celebration, unable to fake enthusiasm. After the party ends and everyone leaves, Paige vents her frustration to Leo. She's angry about the situation, upset that nothing feels familiar, and exhausted by people expecting her to remember a life she can't recall. Feeling overwhelmed, she asks Leo to leave her alone. Respecting her wishes, he quietly steps away. The next morning, Paige appears in a Chicago Cubs hoodie, explaining that it's the only piece of clothing she feels comfortable wearing. Leo smiles and tells her that the hoodie belongs to him. Unbothered, she keeps wearing it. As she prepares to eat breakfast, she picks up a piece of bacon and takes a bite. Leo watches in surprise and casually reminds her that she's a vegetarian. Paige hesitates for a moment but doesn't put the bacon down. Instead, she continues eating as if she's trying to rediscover who she is. Wanting some space, Paige reassures Leo that she's fine and encourages him to go to work. Though hesitant, he listens to her and leaves. As soon as he's gone, Paige keeps eating the bacon, ignoring the idea that she ever gave up meat. Left alone in the house, Paige starts exploring, searching for something, anything, that might spark a memory. She stumbles upon a wedding video, proof of the life she shared with Leo. She watches herself on the screen, laughing, smiling, looking completely in love, yet feeling nothing but confusion. In the video, she notices herself holding a menu from a place called Cafe Mnemonic. The name feels unfamiliar, but curiosity pushes her to find out more. Determined, Paige decides to visit Cafe Mnemonic, hoping it will trigger something. However, as she steps inside, nothing about the place looks familiar. The atmosphere, the people, even the smell of coffee, none of it stirs any memory. Frustrated, she leaves, but as she tries to find her way back home, she realizes she's lost. Not knowing or remembering Leo's phone number, she calls her mom for help. Her mother gladly comes to pick her up. reinforcing idea that she belongs with her family, not Leo. That evening, Paige and Leo go to her parents' house for dinner. The setting feels formal, nothing like the warm and casual dinners she once shared with Leo. Her mother serves filet mignon and happily announces that it's Paige's favorite dish. Without hesitation, Paige accepts it, much to Leo's surprise. He watches her eat the steak, clearly puzzled by how much she has changed. Or perhaps, how much she has reverted to the person she was before meeting him. Later, at a bar with her family and friends, Leo struggles to fit in. The conversations feel distant, the environment unfamiliar. He tries his best, hoping to be part of the world Paige remembers, but he can sense the growing distance between them. Leo remains focused on helping her regain her memory, constantly reminding her of their love and the life they built together. But Paige seems more interested in understanding why she walked away from her old life, why she left law school, why she broke off her engagement with Jeremy. The answers to those questions feel more urgent to her than reconnecting with Leo. One day, while spending time with Jeremy, she gives in to a moment of uncertainty and confusion. She kisses him. Leo tries to reconnect with Paige by tickling her, just as he used to before the accident. He hopes it will spark a memory, or at least bring back some warmth between them. But the attempt fails. Paige doesn't remember the playful ritual, and instead of laughing, she only looks confused. The moment feels forced, another painful reminder that she isn't the same person he fell in love with. Determined to trigger something familiar, Leo takes Paige to her art studio the next morning. He turns up the music, hoping that the sounds and environment will bring back her passion for painting. He encourages her to complete a piece of artwork, thinking muscle memory might take over where her mind fails. But instead of inspiring her, the loud music only gives her a headache. Frustrated, she stops, proving once again that their past is slipping further away. Her doctor later advises her not to be afraid of her past, but to try and fill in the gaps instead. The suggestion sticks with Paige, especially with her sister Gwen's wedding coming up. Wanting some stability, she decides to stay with her parents until the wedding. Leo refuses to give up on her and asks her out on a date. To his relief, she accepts. That night, he makes sure everything is perfect, recreating the kind of romantic moments they once shared. The evening goes well, and they spend the night together. As things heat up, they share a passionate moment, making out before he finally takes her home. But while Leo is fighting for their love, reality catches up with him. When he returns home, he finds a pile of overdue bills waiting for him. The financial strain of the situation becomes clear. His focus on Paige has taken a toll on everything else in his life. After Gwen's wedding, Paige's father takes the opportunity to confront Leo. He brings up Leo's debts and makes it clear that he believes the best solution is for him to divorce Paige. To him, Paige belongs with her family, where she is safe and supported, not with a struggling husband she doesn't even remember. Meanwhile, Jeremy takes advantage of Paige's confusion, hinting at the possibility of them rekindling their past. When he arrogantly talks about sleeping with her, Leo loses control and punches him. Afterwards, Leo confronts Paige, and they agree that their relationship has reached its end. Paige re-enrolls in law school, trying to rebuild her life on her terms. Meanwhile, Leo signs the divorce papers, officially letting go of the marriage he fought so hard to save. One day while shopping, Paige unexpectedly runs into Diane, a former friend. Unlike with others, she recognizes Diane immediately. But the meeting takes an unexpected turn when Diane apologizes for having an affair with Paige's father. In that moment, everything clicks. This is why she had walked away from her family in the first place. Shaken by the revelation, Paige confronts her mother, demanding to know why she hid the truth. Her mother explains that she chose to stay with Paige's father, not because he was perfect, but because she wanted to focus on everything he had done right rather than leaving him for one mistake. Paige listens, but realizes that to rediscover who she truly is, she needs to distance herself from her parents once again. Later, Paige asks Leo why he never told her about her father's affair. Leo simply replies that he wanted to earn her love, not push her away from her family. He didn't want to be the reason she turned against them. He wanted her to make that choice on her own. As time passes, Paige slowly rediscovers her passion. One day, while sitting in class, she absent-mindedly starts sketching. The act feels familiar, like muscle memory taking over. Just as before, art begins to pull her away from law, school. She finds herself sculpting and drawing again, realizing that this is where her heart truly belongs. Meanwhile, Jeremy approaches her, revealing that he broke up with his current girlfriend in the hopes of getting back together with her. But Paige turns him down, explaining that she needs to know what life feels like without him. In response, Jeremy admits that this is exactly what she had told him the first time she left him. As the seasons change, Leo's voice narrates once more. He speaks about moments of impact and the ripple effects that bring unpredictable change, some pulling people closer together while others drift farther apart. His words echo over scenes of Paige finding herself again, growing into the person she was always meant to be. One evening, while in her room, Paige stumbles upon something familiar, the cafe mnemonic menu card where she once wrote her wedding vows. Reading the words, she is deeply moved, as if a part of her past is finally reaching out to her. In the final scene, Paige stands outside the now-closed cafe mnemonic, waiting for Leo. Instead of their usual backup choice, a Cuban restaurant, they decide to try someplace new. Thanks for watching Once Upon a Rewind. Like, subscribe, and hit the bell to never miss our next video. Got a special recap request? Drop it in the comments.